Radharani Jaisacinandana Braja Janaranjana Jaisacinandana Braja Janaranjana Jaisacinandana Braja Janaranjana Jaisacinandana Braja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanacharim Jamuna Tira Vanacharim Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Radhanath Radha Radhanath Radhe Jaya Radha Radhanath Radha Radhanath Radhe. Jaya Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan. Jaya Gaura Hare, Gaura Hare, Gaura Hare, Jaya Gaura Hare. Nita go Haribo, 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 Gaura Haribo. Jaya Radha Damodar, Radha Damodar, Radha. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Go Premanandi. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajaka Dr. Sri Srimad. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. ISKCON Founder Charya Srila Prabhupada Ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Ki. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki. Bhaktivedanta Purports Ki. Srila Prabhupada Ki. Jai Go Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Guru and Gauranga. Lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. So welcome to the Srimad Bhagavatam class. Today's verse is from Canto 4, Chapter 7, text number 51. Continuing with the performance or sacrifice performed by Daksha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaivam Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraye Nasta Praisya Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavad Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki. Text 51. Atmamayam Samavisya Sa Aham Gunamahim Dvija Daksha Sirijan Rakshan Aran Vishvam Dadre Samgyam Kriya Uchitam Atma Mayam Samavishya Atma Mayam Samavishya Soham Gunamahim Dvija Soham Gunamahim Dvija Srijan Rakshan Aran Vishwan. Srijan Rakshan Aran Vishwam. Dadre Samgyam Kriyo Chitam. Dadre Samgyam Kriyo Chitam. Atmamayam Samavishya. Soham Gunamahim Dvija. Srijan Rakshan Aran Vishwam. Dadre Samgyan Kriyo Chitam. Atmamayam Samavishva. Soham Gunamahim Dvija. Srijan Rakshan Aram Vishwan. Dadre Samgyam Kriyo Chitam. Atmamayam Samavisya. Soham Gana Mahim Vidva. Srijan Rakshan Aran Vishwam. Dadre Samgyan Kriyo Chitam. Atmamayam Samavishya. Soham Gunamahim Dvija. Srijan Rakshan Aran Vishwam. Dadre Samgyam Kriyo Chitam. Atmamayam Samavishya. Srijan Rakshan Aran Vishwam. Samgyam. Dre Samgyam Kriyo Chitam. Matas. Atmamayam Samavishwa. Soham Gunamahim Dvija. Srijan Rakshan Aran Vishwan. Dadre Samgyan Kriyo Chitam. Atmamayam Samavishya. Soham Gunamahim Dvija. Vishwam. Dadre Samgyan Kriyo Chitam. Atmamayam, my energy, Samavishya, having entered, Sa, myself, Aham, I, Gunamahim, composed of the modes of material nature, Dvija, O twice born Daksha, Srijan, creating, Rakshan, maintaining, Aran, annihilating, Vishwam, the cosmic manifestation, Dadre, I cause to be born, Samgyam, a name, Kriya Uchitam, according to the activity. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. The Lord continued, my dear Daksha, Dvija, I am the original personality of Godhead, but in order to create, maintain, and annihilate the cosmic manifestation, I act through my material energy, and according to the different grades of activity, my representations are differently named. Responsibly, the Lord continued, my dear Daksha Dvija, I am the original personality of Godhead, but in order to create, maintain, and annihilate this cosmic manifestation, I act through my material energy, and according to the different grades of activity, my representations are differently named. Purport. As explained in Bhagavad Gita 7.5, Jiva Bhutam Mahabahu. The whole world is energy released from the Supreme Source, the personality of Godhead, who it is further stated in Bhagavad Gita, acts in superior energies and inferior energies. The superior energy is the living entity, who is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. As parts and parcel of living entities, the living entities are not different from the Supreme Lord. The energy emanated from Him is non-different from Him. But in the actual activity of the material world, the living entities under the different qualities of material energy and in different forms. There are 8,400,000 species of life forms. The same living entity acts under the influence of the different qualities of material nature. The entities have different bodies, but originally in the beginning of creation, Lord Vishnu is alone. For purpose of creation, Brahma is manifested, and for annihilation there is Lord Shiva. As far as spiritual entrance to the material world is concerned, all beings are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, but under the covering of different material qualities. They have different names. Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva are qualitative incarnations of Vishnu as guna avatars, and Vishnu with them accepts control of the quality of goodness. Therefore, he is also a qualitative incarnation like Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. Actually, the different names exist for different directions. Otherwise, the origin is one only. Om Jnana Timarandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chaksharamalitam Jaina Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Jaina Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunath Anvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyahevacha Patitanam Pavinebhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Atmamayam Samavishya Soham Gunamahim Dvija Srijan Rakshan Aran Vishvam Dadre Samgyan Kriyochitam. So the Supreme Lord is speaking to Daksha. Here is Daksha is referred to Dvija Daksha. Dvija means twice born. Of course, he's given up his previous life as very, very blasphemous, and now he's been purified from that, and so he's having audience with the Lord. So it must be something special. No ordinary person, no sinful person can have audience with the Lord like that. So Dvija is very, very fortunate, and the Lord is speaking to him about the creation of the material world. So if there's a material world, naturally there is a spiritual world, and the spiritual world actually is much greater. Actually, it's described as three-quarter times or much larger than the material creation. But we don't know much about the spiritual nature. Neither do we know much about this material nature, isn't we? Still, even the scientists are still grappling. They're trying to discover things which are already mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the different planetary systems, and we cannot get there by some material contrivance like rocket ship, there's some qualification to go to this higher planet, even to the moon planet, like that. So one has to have that qualification. It's not that by some mechanical means one can get there. Very, very difficult, one has to. So the spiritual nature is described. I'll read some of that. Anyway, it's a nice verse from the Shvetasvatara Upanishad. Natasya karyam karanam na vidyate natat samas chabhyadikas chadusyate parasya shakti vividena shruyate svabhaviki jnana bala kriyacha. The Lord is speaking of his Parasta Shakti Vividena Shruyate. The Lord has multifarious energies. We cannot count them. But for the sake of understanding, the Lord has the three most important or the most prominent. The Lord's spiritual nature, his marginal nature, and then his material nature, or is being discussed in Bhagavad Gita also, like Prabhupada quoting from the 7.5, text 7.5. The Lord's, in the previous verse, he speaks about his inferior nature. What is his inferior nature? He describes there earth, water, fire, wind, bhumi, apo, nalo, vayu, kam. Bhumi, apo, nalo, vayu, kam. Earth, water, fire, air, ether. Then the three, ahankar, the false ego, the buddhi, the intelligence. Intelligence, what else is there? Mind, manasa. Manas, buddhi, and ahankar. So these 8 comprise the Lord's inferior energy, the gross elements. And from that 8, there's a permutation of the Lord's different, how they manifest into different, and that how creation comes about through the different elements. But initially, the 5 gross elements are there. So he's saying here, the Supreme God is originally situated in the spiritual world, which I mentioned that, which comprises of 3 quarters of the entire creation. 1 quarter is the material creation. In Vaikuntha, there are innumerable Vaikuntha planets. Innumerable, unlimited. And there the Lord is 4-handed. And of course, the inhabitants of are also 4-handed. And they have the same features. Like the Lord. Only one difference. Anybody knows what is the difference? What is distinct from the Lord's form and the inhabitants? Although they look the same. One distinct feature is that he has this mark of Srivatsa, this white tuft of hair on his chest. That's the only difference. He wears the marks of a curl of white hair on his chest. And is served with great awe and reverence. Served with great awe and reverence. As they see him as God, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Higher than Vaikuntha. Jai Sri Sri Radhanath Ki. Higher than the Vaikuntha planets is Krishna's personal abode, his original abode, where he is in his original form. It is called Goloka Vrindavan. And this is described also in the Brahma Samhita. And the Golok means the place of the cows, isn't? And these cows are known as Surabhi cows, and they give unlimited milk and very, very tasty, what's the word to use there? They are nectarian. They are nectarian milk. Far cry from the milk we get here. He is known as Shamasundra. He is two-handed, playing on his flute. And this is the form that the devotees attach to. And in this Golok Vrindavan, the ras of paternal affection, conjugal affection, sakya, friendship, and of course the two lower ras of servitorship and neutrality are also very prominent. And the Lord and they engage respectively in these different types of ras. The trees are like kalpa vriksha, they are wish-fulfilling trees, desire trees. There is no need of sunlight, moonlight, electricity. So no more load-shedding problems. We should desire to go there. We should have that intense desire to go to that place. No problems. And everything is self-sufficient. And yet the background of all is the Lord's Yoga Maya potency, which covers the devotees of this from thinking that Krishna is God. The elderly gopis, they are covered to think that Krishna is their son. He's not God, but he is their son. The coward boys see him as their friend, coward boyfriend. They don't see him as God. The young coward damsels of Raj, they see Krishna as their lover. So this is types of relationships that are not as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the same Golok Vrindavan, the spiritual world, when it comes to the Hatli planet, it is known as Gokul Vrindavan. Gokula Vrindavan. It is like non-different. It is considered non-different from the spiritual world. Boma Vrindavan. Boma means earthly. Seemingly you may go to Vrindavan and see pigs and all kinds of monkeys. And, you'll see, but these are all part of the of Golok Vrindavan. Whatever is there is also present here. So how to understand that the spiritual world comes to the material world as Vrindavan, Gokul Vrindavan, is to, the analogy is given of the embassy. When you go to an embassy like the British Embassy or the United States Embassy, although it's in a foreign country, but when you enter there, you are just like in Britain or in America. It's non-different. And if you enter there, and even the present, they cannot prosecute you once you're in this embassy. Right? So Vrindavan is like that. It is a embassy to the spiritual world. It is a embassy to the spiritual world. Like these pictures here, beautiful pictures. They are like windows to the spiritual world. They are windows to the spiritual world. Yeah, just seeing all this beautiful Leela of Krishna in the spiritual world. They are like windows. They reflect that image of the spiritual world. And we understand that Krishna is never alone. There's no picture of Krishna alone you've seen. One of the features of Krishna that is always accompanied by, is distinct from his other plenary expansions, and is distinct from them. That he's never alone, he's never portrayed alone. He's always accompanied, isn't, by somebody. It's always like that. That is a feature of the spiritual world. So how did the material world come about then? So the Lord was desiring, he had this desire to create the material world, to manifest different living entities. Here Prabhupada mentioned the purport. 8,400,000 species of different living entities are there, including the demigods in the higher planets, like all we read, the Vidyadharas, the Kimpurushas, the different of the different inhabitants of the different planets, all included in this 8,400,000 species. Gandhavas, like we read, all these great personalities are there. But they included in this 8,400,000 species of life. So the Lord, it is described, like Rangadevi was explaining yesterday, how the Lord expands from his original self to Balaram, to the quadruple expansions. It is all very technical, but it's nice to have some understanding. And then further quadruple expansions, and then the Narayan expansion is manifested from that. And then the Purusha. So when the Lord wants to create, he manifests as the Purusha incarnations. They are the Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Shirodakshaya Vishnu. Then there's different kinds of expansions. Mentions in Bhagavad Gita mentions that in the 4th chapter also. Text 7 or 8 is there, isn't the Purusha avatars, Leela avatars. Who are the Leela avatars? The Das avatars that are mentioned, the prominent Nishingadev, Vamanadev, like that, Ram, Lord Ramachandra, Buddha, Parusharam, who? Matsya, yes, thank you. Vamana. So there's 10. They are the Leela avatars. Then there's, we said Purusha avatars. Then there's Guna avatars, like this is the Guna avatars are Brahma, Vishnu and Lord Shiva. We know Brahma was created. We have some knowledge of that. Brahma. So Mahavishnu is lying in the causal ocean, and as a lotus spreads from his abdomen, grows, and Brahma is produced from this lotus flower. So he is the father of that is the supreme personality. Brahma is the supreme personality of Godhead. But And it's all like, from one point of view, it's very like kind of far-fetched, isn't? Like if we read the story of how in the Christian Bible, Adam and Eve were the first persons created, is kind of contradictory, or sometimes even the skeptics of those, they also discount that Adam and Eve existed. Yeah, among some discussions, they don't believe that Adam and Eve existed. So, who's giving the proper authentic knowledge? Therefore, we go to the Vedas. Vedas is the original, and whatever the Vedas is saying, the original Vedic teachings, which is being followed by from time immemorial, we accept that. Great personalities accepted that. Lord Brahma, Vyasadeva, Narad Muni, Kapila Muni, Lord Shiva. So these are our authorities. The Mahajans, we go to them because they are our authorities. And Bhagavatam is full of that, pastimes of the Lord. So this is why we become, our conviction must be there. And we must have knowledge of that. If you know God is great, like many people say, many popular religious, they declare God as great. Right? God is great. How great? We have to ask, how great? And how great is very, very in detail. In detail, the Lord's spiritual way comes from, the spiritual abode, right down to the material creation. In detail, broken down, right to the atom. And Lord Kapila is the Acharya for Sankhya, disseminating Sankhya philosophy. Sankhya philosophy means to understand the nature of this material world. Sankhya means counting or analyzing. This material world as gross element. What are the gross? Earth, water, fire, ether. This is what this is what our body is made of also. All living entities are made of these 5 elements. And it manifests more into 25. These are called evolutes of Sankhya. We have to become wise to these things. And Bhagavad Gita gives that. Srimad Bhagavatam explains what is the subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam. There's 10 topics of the Bhagavatam. Sarga, Visarga. The verse from the 2nd canto says, Atra Saga Visagascha, Stanam Poshanam Utaya, Manvantara Isha Anukata, Niroda Muktir Ashraya. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, there are 10 divisions of statements regarding the following. Sarga, Atra, the creation of the universes, sub-creation. So the Lord creates first, and then there's sub-creation, which is under the guidance of Lord Brahma. Therefore, Brahma has to be very, very intelligent. That's why he has 4 heads. He has to be super intelligent, isn't it? And Brahma is the highest pious living entity in this universe. In this universe, it is 4-headed Brahma. So there's other universes which are much bigger than this. And according to the size of the universe, this Brahma has 10 heads, 100 heads, 1,000 heads, 10,000 heads. This pastime is mentioned in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, where Brahma, this Brahma, 4-headed Brahma, thought he was the only Brahma. So he went to Vaikuntha. He wanted an audience with the Lord, and so the doorkeepers, the doorkeepers, they don't just let you in. You have to have appointment. So they said, yes, who are you? And he said, I'm Brahma. So they said, okay, you hang in here, we'll go and see if the Lord wants to see you now. So he said, okay. So they went to Lord Vishnu and said, there's a Brahma out here. He wants to have darshan with you. So the Lord replied, ask him which Brahma he is. So when they came back and said, which Brahma are you? And Brahma was astonished. He says, what? I thought I'm the only Brahma. And as he went in, and the Lord clapped his hand, and as he clapped, there was Brahmas from all over, from the different universes, all clanging noise, and when they're offering their obeisances with their helmets. So trying to understand this universe, we're still grappling with that, isn't it? So these different subject matters are there in Bhagavatam. Sarga, Visarga. There's creation, sub-creation. So if you thank Brahma for your eyes, your nose, your different parts of it, like the gopis were blaming Brahma for giving them eyelids, isn't it? The moment they close, you cannot keep your eyelids open all the time. It has, isn't? Can you try that? How many times? Actually, they did some survey to see how many times your eyelids is quite a phenomenon. It cannot blink. So in a blink of an eye, and they turned and Krishna was gone. Isn't? Like that. And then they're blaming, why did you give us this eyelids? So this creation, sub-creation is there. The ashraya means the ultimate shelter. Then there's liberation. The Lord created this material world for the living entities to play out the fantasies, or they have given some minute independencies there for the living entities. Therefore, we are Tatastha Shakti, one of the Lord's marginal energy. We are the Lord's Tatastha Shakti. There is Bahiranga Shakti, Antaranga Shakti, and we are His Tatastha Shakti. We are His marginal. Marginal means that we are in between spiritual and material. We are hovering between spiritual and material. Therefore, we always maintain that of marginal energy. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu brilliantly he described the living entity in Jivara Swarupai Krishnara Nityadas. He says the constitutional nature of the Jiva, you, me, we are Jivas, Atma, living entity. Jivara Swarupai Krishnara Nityadas. That we are eternally Krishna's servant. We may have heard that so many times, isn't it? But it must dawn, it must have a realization that we are Krishna's servant, we are not the controllers. Or to an extent we are controlling in certain aspects of the material sphere. But ultimately, as Brahma is saying, Ishvara Parama Krishna is the supreme controller. So we have to have that realization ultimately that Sri Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. So Lord Chaitanya, Jivara Swarupai Krishnara Nityadas. Krishna Tatastha Shakti is saying, we are Krishna's Tatastha Shakti. Is marginal energy. Beda ha Beda. This is a very interesting take on that. Beda ha Beda is that inconceivably we are one and different. Beda ha Beda. We are one and different, inconceivably one and different from the Lord. So this is the personal understanding, personalist philosophy of understanding our position, and that we are in Krishna's marginal energy, and that we are eternally His servant, and that we have God-like qualities. We have God-like qualities, but not in quantity. So we cannot become God. We cannot become God. God is always God. How Krishna is always God, not that he became a great yogi through some mystic power or performed austerities and he became, no, God, even in the lap of his mother, sucking the breast of his mother, he was only 3 months old. And he killed so many demons, Sakatshura, the cart demon, Srinivata, Putana. So he had the potency of God even as a 3-month-old. Not that he got some mystic power. Like yogis want some mystic power to make a show, to get some audience. Or we may perform austerities to become very powerful. But we cannot become God. No. But we can develop God-like qualities. Yes. We can develop God-like qualities. Yes. So that is the nature of. Therefore, independence is there. This is the Lord's inconceivable energy. Is Shakti. That is given the living entity, that is given him some independence. But we may think, yes, is material energy independent? No. Krishna is saying in that verse we read, Bhumi apano vayu. He said, Binna, these are Binna Prakriti, they are my separated energy. Binna means separate. That means they are not conscious. They are not conscious. Then he describes in the next verse. What is that verse? He says, text 5. He describes the living entity who is above the material energy. He is compared to he is part of the spiritual energy, but he is exploiting the resources of this material world. It says, Aparayamitas tu anyam prakritim vedi me param jiva bhutam mahabaho yeyedam daryate jagat. Srila Prabhupada paraphrases that in the purport. Jiva bhutam mahabaho is, it's the same verse. Besides these, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mind, which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material, inferior energy. So I said, like you're saying, Binna Prakriti, that means everything is dead. Like this table is dead. This table was once a thriving tree, isn't? Wood. But when that spiritual spark has left, then the tree dies and is made. So this is matter. And his body is also matter. Then Krishna describes the superior energy is that soul that enters into these lifeless elements and gives it life. It says Prabhupada says in the poet, these living entities are a superior energy because the quality of the existence is one and same with the Supreme. But they are never equal to the Lord in quantity or power. While exploiting the gross and subtle inferior matter, the superior energy, the living entity, forgets his real spiritual mind and intelligence. Thus, forgetfulness is due to the influence of matter upon the living entity. But when the living entity becomes free from the influence of the illusory material energy, he attains a stage called mukti. And this is one of the subject matter described the 10 subject matters in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Mukti, liberation. We become liberated from this material energy. Or liberation. So the false ego, the ahankar deludes us. It's the deluding part of this body. This body is dead matter. It is, but the soul gives it life, and we understand that this, without the soul, this body is dead. Or any living entity, the tree, or even ant, even some things we cannot see with the naked eye, they have the spiritual energy is there. It enters into even the atom. We cannot see the atom. It is anu. Anu means atomic. So the understanding like that, that the Lord creates, but He has to manifest different creative impetus or expand Himself for the process of creation. And the Lord is always in the spiritual name. What is Krishna doing? It's very hard to understand this little boy. This cowherd boy is running barefoot, isn't? In the forest of Vrindavan. That this same personality is the creator of this universe. And the same personality who is running from his mother, she has a stick in her hand. He is crying out of fear. How to understand that? This Supreme Lord is fear personified. He is described as fear personified. And yet fear personified is running away in fear from a stick. How to understand that? So it is all very inconceivable for the skeptics, for the materialists. Therefore, in many editions of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is just some historic figure or not some impersonal figure or abstract figure. But no, here he's saying Sa means he. If we say somebody he, that means he's a person. Isn't it? If I say she, he, person. And Krishna, I myself, is saying to Daksha. What it implies? That they're persons. In Bhagavad Gita it says, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. What that means? The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is known as Bhagavan, spoke. It's not some abstract, he's speaking to some, like the distorted version of so many skeptics or Mayavads who discount that the Lord ever existed, or there's no God, there's no intelligence behind His creation. Therefore, when Krishna spoke, chapter 10, what is chapter 10 called? Anybody knows? Opulence of the Absolute. Opulence of the... So he's describing all his different Shaktis, his Vibhutis. So the skeptic may say, anybody can say that. Isn't? Those who are skeptical, anybody can. And there's a place in Hyde Park, you can, in London, you can go and say anything and anything, and nobody will tell you anything. But when you come out of there, then you, whatever you said that was blasphemous, you'll get it. But while you're in there, you cannot be prosecuted. You can say anything. Blaspheme the government, blaspheme anybody. Speaker's Corner. I don't know what's it called. Something like that. Anybody been to London? Hyde Park? Segi? No. So therefore, in chapter 11, Arjuna wants to quantify or set a criteria that Krishna didn't say some words, but he proved that he's actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's the Creator, he's everything. By manifesting, Arjuna requested him to show this. Whatever you're speaking in chapter 10, Arjuna wanted to set a criteria. Not that Arjuna didn't believe, Arjuna was convinced that he is God. You are Param Brahma. Arjuna was praising Krishna. And not only I'm saying it, but Vyasdev, Asita, Devala, Narad, they all are saying it. And now you are saying it. So Arjuna, he accepted everything the Lord. Not that he was skeptical, but just for those who are skeptical, he wanted Krishna to show the Virat, the universal form, to set a criterion that no imposter can come and pose as himself as supreme, but he must have the quality, he must show. Anybody say, I'm God, then show me your universal form. Can you show me or do the things that Krishna did? Or I am the light of the moon, the light of the sun, all these different energies, the taste of water, rasaham mapsakauntaya. So this is how we can perceive the Lord through his different energies. In Bhagavatam also expanded more. The rivers are like his veins. The trees, the roots are like his hair. His breathing out, his sweat, perspiration is the causal ocean. And the pores, that the bubbles are different universes. So you can imagine how much pores you have in your millions, isn't it? You cannot count. So imagine the Lord's form, his gigantic form. And millions and billions of universes are coming and going, isn't it? As Bhagavad Gita says, Bhutva pralayate. Again and again there is creation, there is annihilation. Bhutva pralayate. There's creation, there's annihilation. There's creation, and of course after a certain time scale, isn't there? And therefore Lord Shiva is placed apart. Lord Brahma is the Lord Vishnu is maintaining everything. He's the maintainer in the mode of goodness. Brahma in the mode of passion, he has to create. Lord Shiva in the mode of tamagun. He is the destroyer, he is destructing the universe. So these guna avatars, they are known as guna avatars. And so we can see the Lord does not come personally to he doesn't have any connection with the material world. He has no connection. But then you may say, no, he comes to Vrindavan, yes. That Vrindavan is the embassy. And we are very, very fortunate, isn't it, to be part of that. I mean, to even enter Vrindavan and hear the wonderful Leela of the Lord and walk on the same forests and the same Radha Kund and the different pastimes, the different pastimes of the Lord. So, in that way we can relive all these wonderful past and become, the whole purpose of that is to purify our consciousness from this perverted material consciousness. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam is the ripened fruit of Vedic knowledge, and one has to develop an attachment to hearing. Nasta prayusha bhadresh nityam bhagavata sevaya. It can purify us, just hearing Bhagavatam, just being in the presence of Bhagavatam. One becomes purified from material contamination. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you very much. Any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Jaisacinandana Prabhu. Thank you so much for that class. Very nicely rounded off, brought it full circle. Nice. And I just wanted to mention, you mentioned one point about Krishna, never being alone, especially in the pictures. But we do see one picture over there where Krishna, it's just him over there.
Admiring himself.
Sorry?
Which one?
The one where he's looking at his reflection.
Reflection.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been bewildered by his own beauty. He's
So
captivated by his.
Yeah. You mentioned there's one picture. I mean, there's no picture. I mean, Krishna's never alone. He's never depicted alone. But yeah, we see that he is alone.
I can't hear what you're saying.
No, we hear that. You said that Krishna is never alone.
Yeah.
But in this picture, he is alone.
No, his reflection is there. Yeah, generally he's never alone. No. You will always see he's always accompanied even by peacock or cows, monkeys, birds. But he's never. But even that picture is, if you look at the bigger, there's household is. There's it's in a palace. That's in Dwarka. And so he has these people there. See the bigger picture. Hare Krishna. Anything else? Thank you. Hare Krishna.